Just that.
All right, it's rolling. Go for it.
Okay. Welcome back to the Live to Grind podcast show. On today's show, we have Mia Saxena. How's it going, Mia?
It's going pretty well.
You know, this is interesting. We've been filming here, and we've been filming the last couple days and getting ready. You got an album that's going to be coming out. But I want to share today with the audience. I want to share with how to even get in the music industry. We're playing earlier, and you know, I'm never good with the guitar, right?
Yeah, we saw that earlier.
I tried to play.
I taught you that one chord, but it didn't work.
One chord, I was down, 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 up, down, up.
Down, 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 up, down, up.
Yeah, like I was trying, but it's not my thing. I was born for other things. But I want to go back in time. So, Mia, when you first picked up a guitar, we're going to talk about how people can even get into the industry and how to write a song and play guitar and do the things like you're doing today.
All the stuff that's behind the scenes.
All the steps. But I want to learn more about you. So, how old were you when you first started playing? Why did you even get into music?
Well, I mean, I didn't start music by playing the guitar. I started by going to, those like crappy karaoke bars that you play the track in the background and you sing along and like there are a bunch of drunk people there. And so I was like this little kid just going on stage being like, don't stop believing.
That's kind of good. but you started from doing karaoke.
Yeah, I just started going up there and like rocking out with the crowd, and I was like, I like this. This is awesome. Can I do this when I'm older?
And then what was that next step? Like did you tell your mom or dad like, hey, I want to do this?
I mean, I kind of misstated it there. I didn't say to myself, do I want to do this when I'm older? I was just like, can I do this all the time? And my dad was like, Mia, you're really good at music. Why don't you do this for a living? And so my dad really like introduced me to the concept of you can do music as a job, not just as a hobby. You can do it as your job and make money and be happy.
Which I love that because I see a lot of parents and it's for them, they think they're trying to protect their kids. Mm-hmm. You know what? You don't think too big. You're going to get let down. You need to go through school and do the regular job. But for you, your dad said, you know what? You can actually turn this into your career and go forward with it. He supported it.
Yeah. My dad always tells me it takes 10 years to get really good at something, right?
Yeah,
so he told me that in 10 years, you're going to be 25. So you're still going to be starting out, and it'll be okay if you mess up. If you don't have success in 10 years, it's okay, because you'll still, first of all, have the experience. I'll have 10 years of experience in the music business, and that can be used to help other people, like my mentor, Cherise Boltor. She's fantastic, by the way. Helped me with her 20-plus years of music experience and her connections. So I'll have that, and I'll still be starting out, and I'll have my entire life ahead of me. So even if I mess up, it's still okay.
How did you find that mentor? What was her name again?
Cherise Boltor. I actually found her through the internet because Cherie was the one who hooked me up with all of the people who taught me how to songwrite. She was basically my songwriting coach. Found all these people who know how to write awesome songs, and she introduced me, and we wrote songs, and I learned a bunch. So we found her through looking up a bunch of like Nashville stuff on the computer, and her company, if you want to check it out, it's absolutely fantastic, and she's a great person, is Global Songwriters Connection, if anybody out there needs to work on their songwriting. So she just taught me so much about how Nashville works and how the entire music industry works, so I'm really grateful for her.
So and one thing I always talk about on the show is finding mentors and find somebody who's already done what you want to do and learn from them, follow in their footsteps. Don't reinvent the wheel, because she can obviously like take you places.
Oh yeah.
And teach you things that she took so long to learn. Yes.
Cherie was not the only person who's mentored me, because I've had a lot of people who I've worked with.
You're good. We keep going. That's just our background music.
Yeah.
So who else in the industry?
Who else? There are a bunch of people. I can name them by name if any of you want to check them out. There is Wade Sutton of Rocket to the Stars. He helped me with my performance. There's Johnny Dwinell of Daredevil Productions, He's helping me a lot with my social media and my YouTube videos and posting them. And Cherie obviously helped me with songwriting and making a lot of connections to publishers in the music industry and other
Yeah.
important people.
So let's step back a notch because I mean, you found a mentor, which has got you way ahead of the game.
Oh, yeah.
But what was the next step after karaoke?
After karaoke, my dad was like, "Hey Mia, why don't you do this?" And I was like, "Okay, well, first I need to learn how to play the guitar."
Yeah.
And so we found a guitar coach.
Before the music, before singing coach?
Yeah, before singing coach, my guitar coach eventually became my first vocal coach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I worked with him for a couple of years. He owned a music school, and I played with them for a couple of years as well, more like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the next step after that, learning how to play the guitar. And it took me quite a while how to learn to play the guitar, and I'm not the best guitarist, I will say that,
Yeah.
but it takes 10 years to get good at anything. So,
How many
yeah.
years, I mean, were you practicing, like, what it looked like? Because I'm curious for myself. Like, were you every single night, 5 times a week practicing?
Well, when I was like little, I didn't really have a set practice schedule because I was like, I don't want to do this. I suck. I want to go do other things.
Yeah.
So I would just practice like once like a week, which was not great and probably is why I'm not better than I am now. So if you really want to get really good at guitar in a shorter amount of time, then I would say like maybe 20 minutes every day, because as long as you're doing something every day, it's really good.
Muscle memory. Yeah.
Yes, muscle memory.
So what is like the, if you're practicing on a regular basis, what do you think is like the breakthrough? What was it for you to get where it became natural for you? I mean, you're still learning, but like you kind of have things down.
Yeah, I have like chords down and that kind
Yeah.
of thing. There's really no specific point where it becomes muscle memory. I've been playing, I've been kind of like, I messed around with the guitar in the beginning. I was like not really playing.
Yeah.
So like for like 2 years, I was like, oh, this is a cool guitar, like pretending to play and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then I actually started learning. And then I've been playing guitar since I was, how long has it been now? It's been like 6.5 years, I think. So yeah, there's no real point where it was just like, now I'm good at the guitar. It just kind of happened.
So so you write your own songs,
Yeah.
and especially with your new album coming out, I mean, the songs you've wrote, where does that, how old were you when you first started writing songs?
I only started writing seriously about 18 months ago. So that was like, what, a year and a half-ish. So yeah, I was like 14, 13.
So I'm curious because you think of like Taylor Swift. I mean, she writes a lot of her songs and then obviously plays them, and
Yeah.
it's just awesome what she does. But like for you, where do you begin? Do you pick up a guitar and start doing a few strings, chords? Like does it
My
start
writing process.
Yeah,
when
what's
I
the
write a
process?
song,
How do you? Where do the ideas come from? But how do you actually take them ideas and them lyrics and put it into a full song that actually people listen to?
Well, first of all, I like to start with a title of a song. Like one of Cherie's exercises that she gave me in the beginning was come up with a list of like 30 good titles for a song. Like one of my songs is called Break It, which she thought was a really good title. I came up with that title and then I wrote the song. So you come up with a title, you decide what the song is going to be about based on the title. And then I usually take like a chord progression, like I mess around on the guitar a little bit until I find a chord progression I like. At least this is now. This was not when I started writing. This is what I do now.
Yeah.
So I find a chord progression I like, and then I start messing around with the melody, like that's how you sing the words. And then I just come up with the words based on what I want the song to be about, and that's how it all comes together.
So you write, I mean, we talked about this before too, write from the heart, from emotion and what for you, and
Yeah.
you and we relate to this. So you were bullied at a young
Yes.
age. So where does your music come from? Like, talk about that when you were bullied.
When I was bullied, I was called a lot of names, like fat, stupid, dumb, ugly.
Yeah.
And I was really not included in a lot of things like recess or lunch or PE. Like, no one would pick me for their team because I was like the uncool kid or whatever. But I just, through my journey with bullying, I realized that I don't need to care what other people think. I just need to do what makes me happy. And so I write a lot about what I felt when I was being bullied, and then I resolved the song with what have I done? What is the upside? Where is the positivity come in? How do you fix it? So that's what I write a lot about.
So your music is more than, I mean, it's more than just music. You're taking a stand for
Yeah.
everybody that is getting bullied.
I feel like these songs are they connect with people a lot because they're so authentic. Like, if a record label tells you to write a love song just because they think love songs are the most popular songs,
Yeah.
then, and it's not from your heart, you don't want to write a love song, then it's not going to connect with people. They're going to realize that this is fake and this is not what you actually feel. If you write about something really deep and emotional to you and you bare your soul out to them, people come and they relate to that because in the deepest part of your soul you have these emotions, and I write about those. I write about how I felt when I was bullied, and there are people out there who feel the same thing, so they can relate, and it really connects with them, and it makes me feel like I can relate to them and they can relate to me as well.
Yeah, I mean, for you at 15, you transition. I mean, I don't think you've experienced love yet, and someday you could write song. I mean, Taylor Swift. I mean, I feel like every time she breaks up with somebody, it's a song about the breakup.
Right.
But it's from the heart. But for you, I get it. I mean, your experience of bullying, so you can relate to that, and others can. So that's where your music comes from. Everybody's
Yeah.
inspired in some way, and when they can connect with that,
Yeah.
it can be true.
Yes. Aspiring songwriters, my first tip for them would be write about what's real to you. What have you gone through in your life? What problems have you had? Or what happiness have you experienced? And can other people relate to that? Can other people connect? And will they feel the same thing you feel when you write? I like to think about that.
I think one thing too, and like you look at the positive of negative things. So you got bullied, but as a result of that, it's turned you into the musician you are today.
Right.
And for me, I got bullied. I had a speech impediment, and I use that as a way to propel myself as a speaker and TV
Right.
host, which there's a way to look at that. So I think the lesson for the audience, if you are getting bullied, try to turn that negative situation into a positive.
Right. Just focus on the positives because negativity never helps anything. Anger doesn't do anything. It makes you get into fist fights and like all that kind of stuff. And you don't want to get mixed up with that because that gets you like broken.
Yeah.
So nothing ever good comes from negativity and anger. So just try and channel maybe your negative feelings into something positive. If you feel angry, maybe paint a picture that represents your emotions, and maybe someone will relate to that picture and they'll say like, wow, that's a darn good picture. Write a song about how you felt, and then somebody else can listen to that song and say, wow, I'm not alone in this.
I mean, we feel like we're alone sometimes, but there are
Yes.
so many people out there experiencing the same thing. And whether it's a song or whether it's a product that solves a problem that had a similar problem with things, if you create something out there and you find those people that are like you, they're going to buy your product, they're going to listen to your music, and they'll be your loyal following.
Right. Like, a lot of people are bullied, like tens of thousands of people.
Which is sad, yeah.
In the U.S. alone are bullied. Obviously, it's not the worst thing that could happen to you, but it really makes you feel like you're alone and you're the only person who can relate. But when people hear my music, I'd like them to realize that there are other people who've been bullied and they know what it's about and they can relate to you and you can talk about it because they understand what you're going through. Like, being a musician kid like I am, I'm like kind of ahead of like what my other friends are doing. My friends are like, whoa, you already know what you're gonna be when you grow up. I'll just go to college and like get a medical degree and whatever. So I don't really have anybody to talk to about that kind of thing and all the other hardships behind all the glamour and that kind of thing. But I want the people who are bullied to understand that there's somebody they can talk to, there's somebody that understands, and there's somebody who cares.
So who do you relate with for like a musician that you look up to?
A musician that I look up to is Pink. I really think that her entire message and her look is amazing, and she works really hard. And I've studied her, and I've looked at how she got to where she is, and I think she's a really good example for musicians in general.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's finding somebody, we have our idols that we want
Right.
to, and we study and who we want to be. And one of mine is Lewis Howes. Because he has his own podcast show. It's got 30 million downloads.
Oh, man.
And he was just on the Ellen show.
Right.
And I've actually interviewed him for my show, but before I even got into podcasting, I studied John Lee Dumas and
yes.
Lewis Howes, and JLD became a good friend of mine, and Lewis I've worked with, so it's cool to see. But for you, like, you found the Pink, you need to find people, and this is for any industry, you need to find somebody that you look up to, and be like them in a way, but in your own way. Learn from what they did. Study them. How did they become successful? Do not reinvent the wheel.
Like, when I was songwriting, I studied a lot of Pink's songs, like the structure and the chord progressions, and I got inspired from those songs. And I didn't copy those songs, but I took basically like those structures and those chord progressions and made them into my own thing, my own break it, my own checkmate, that kind of thing.
So how has Sunil been as a mentor and like impacting your life? What's that like working together?
It's like being like it's like I'm kind of like a superhero and my dad's like my sidekick. He's always
That's a good way to put it.
I don't know if he feels the same way.
His look over there behind the scenes, like what that looks like. So like what's that relationship? Because he's basically your manager.
Yeah,
he is
my
your
manager. I know I can depend on him, and he's not gonna like tell me anything false because he has nothing to gain out of that. I mean, like and I know he cares about me on a personal level, so he would never do anything to bring me down or just for his own gain. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So what you guys working together, what are some things, what have you learned in this entire process? I mean, between the music, the filming, because you're an entrepreneur. A lot of musicians don't realize this, or even actors, they don't realize they are an entrepreneur and their product is themselves and their music. So what have you learned in this process? What are some key components that you've learned on this journey so far? I've
learned two big things. First of all, I've learned that being a musician and trying to get to the top is so hard. Oh my God, people who follow you only see like the glamorous side, like the makeup and the hair and the big concerts and the Grammys and that kind of thing. But there's so much work behind it and so many hours that you have to put in. And the second thing I've learned also is that music as a whole is just a business. Like, music is a business. Like, everything is a business, like golf, sports, entertainment, that kind of thing. And you have to know the business side of music as well as the creative side. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get to the top. Like, I'm learning about how to support myself now and pay for all my music stuff. That's why we're doing the crowdfunding with you to pay for the album. So
and spread awareness and find people to help you get to the top.
Exactly. So I'm learning about the business side, and there is a lot to it. There's like, you have to meet with all these executives and these important music people, and there are a lot of them. Like, now at a level, or now where I am, somebody like who nobody knows could, like some producer who worked with a star or Rihanna could like mess up my game, and I wouldn't be able to climb any higher if he spread like some bad rumor about me. I don't know why he would want to do that, but this is a hypothetical situation. But Pink, some backwater producer, isn't gonna ever hurt her because she has already gotten up to the top because she understands that business.
Yeah.
So there's also a business side to the music, and you have to learn that as well as the creative side.
No, it's 100%. One of the shows I did for Live to Grind, we're talking with Native Culture. I was talking with them, and I said, it doesn't necessarily matter how good, it does matter how good you are, but at the end of the day, what gets you to the top is being seen.
Right.
If you market right. And I see a lot of bands, musicians, they don't market correctly. I mean, you could be doing Facebook Lives, or we're doing Snapchats, creating
doing all these
videos,
things.
promotion, because it just takes one person to see you to change your life.
Yeah.
One person that can open a door for you, that has a connection, that can make you the star. So what you need to do, and you're doing, is putting yourself out there every
Right.
single day.
With-
And that's for any musician out there.
Oh, yeah,
Consistency.
certainly. With Pink, I'm going back to her as an
Yeah.
example. She met with this legendary executive named L.A. Reid, and he really brought her up to the top. He got her on the radio, and basically, she was a fire. He poured gasoline on top of her and made her an explosion.
Yeah.
And now she's freaking amazing. So I just need to find that one person. Any musician who's looking to get somewhere with their music needs to find that one person like L.A. Reid or whoever to pour gasoline on top
Yeah.
of them and make them explode.
Exactly. And so just my advice, if I was going to be a musician, like as we know, like I can't, you're going to play in a minute, but as we know, I'm not very good. But if I was going to be, what I would do is everywhere I play, I would be playing every single night in my house, and I record it on a Facebook Live.
Right.
And at every event that I would go to, I would have a videographer record this
Right.
and do a Facebook Live, but also capture all that. And then I would package that into promo videos. And I would do Facebook ads, and I would be literally putting out this content all the time. Because again, it just takes one person to see your
yeah.
content. They become a loyal follower. And then over time, that builds up because people have to see your stuff many a times.
Oh, yes.
And then over time, you're going to go to a venue and people are just going to come directly just to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've built up my following in entrepreneurship. If I go
Right.
speak, people come. But for you, for playing, I mean, you build up your loyal fan base, and then they're going to be going wherever you want to go. I mean, you look
Yeah.
at like Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift, they come and show up with these shirts of
Oh, you
them. They
bet.
want to sign to the fans.
Yeah.
But so one last question I want to ask you is, what would be your advice to anybody who wants to make it in the music industry?
My advice for them would be start with the basics. Start with songwriting and maybe learn how to use Logic, which is a software that you use to make production or tracks to your music. Start with the basics and get really, really good at those. If you have a strong, solid foundation, you can build the Empire State Building on top of that. So that would be my advice to any musicians who are looking to build a following.
So let's talk. You got your album that's coming out. What's your favorite song on it?
My favorite song is the one we're going to play in a second. It's called Break It, and it's my favorite because I wrote it with one of my best songwriter friends. Her name is Lo Miller. Go check her out. And it also is about what I felt while I was being bullied. I felt like I was being sort of put into a box. I talk a lot about it in the song, like break it, break the box, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, it really means a lot to me, and it's a very emotional song.
So let's hear it.
All right.
let's do it.
All right. Should I mic the guitar? All right.
Just go for
All
it.
right. They drew me 4 lines, they told me not to go outside. Social construction built on the destruction of personality, individuality, trying to make me paper thin as a magazine. That mentality just isn't me, can't live in a warped reality. Going out of my mind, about to ignite. Don't wanna hide inside this cardboard life. Not gonna fake it, just so I can make it. Gonna take this box and break it, break it, break it. Oh, 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 break it, break it, break it. Oh, 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 oh. Not gonna be another cookie cutter paper doll inside these walls. Oh, sorry, did I stutter? I speak metaphorically, but I think you know what I mean. If we're talking historically, society's never listening. Going out of my mind, about to ignite. Don't wanna hide inside this cardboard life. Not gonna fake it, just so I can make it. Gonna take this box and break it, break it, break it. Oh, 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 break it, break it, break it. Oh, 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 oh. They drew me for lines, they told me not to go outside. But I'm going out of my mind, about to ignite. Don't wanna hide inside this cardboard life. Not gonna fake it, just so I can make it. Gonna take this box and break it, break it, break it. Oh, 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 break it, break it, break it. Oh, 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 break it, break it, break it. Whoa, break it, break it, break it. Oh, 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 whoa.
Yeah, that was awesome. I really enjoy that song.
Thank you.
Great job. That is awesome. What would be any last words you want to share with anybody? I mean, obviously they're probably listening right now. If they're watching, they're like, "That is amazing. How can I do that? Like, how can I become the next Mia Rocks?" But what's your advice to anybody out there? Any last words?
Be yourself, write about what's real to you, and just make your music your own. Because if it's not relatable to you, it won't be relatable to anybody else. And if you want to write a song like Break It, write your Break It.
That is so good. Where can people find you on social media?
People can find me at Instagram is The Real Mia Rocks. Snapchat is also the same. Facebook is Mia Rocks. So I'll see everybody there.
So everybody listening, we have on the notes at livetogrind.com. We're going to have the notes where you can be a part of the campaign for supporting her newest album coming out. And, you know, as I always say at the end, for creating something great, Mia, I just want to acknowledge you're a great singer and songwriter.
Thank you.
And you've created great things in music. And it's inspiring many people and helping them go through the process. I mean, they're getting bullied. You're standing up for that. And I can relate to it myself for being bullied. So just congrats to you and everything, and I'm looking forward to see you become the star and make it in the industry. And for anybody watching or listening, you know what time it is. It is time to go out there, create something great, and become unforgettable, because life is too short not to. I'm Brennan C. Adams. Have a great day, everyone.